day, Ruskin enjoyers. Heptononics, it's time for the 48-hour analysis. Basically, in this video, I'm going to look at all the skins to the current Rustore. I'm going to make comparisons to previous Rustore skins to get a good idea in regards to, well, how much each of these skins is likely to sell by next Thursday, and then knowing that within question, are these skins still holding up to being perfectly fine investments, or are there any potential problems that you need to be aware of? So sit back and relax. I'm going to start yapping. So I just want to come clean. Unfortunately, due to having to stay up all night to prepare for some Counter-Strike music hit barders, I kind of overslept. But funnily enough, I was up, surprisingly, at the 23-hour mark. So I do happen to have this screenshot. But when we do comparisons today, maybe we could add like 500 subscribers in each skin and then kind of do a comparison. Regardless, it's pretty obvious how some of these skins are going to likely, behave. I wonder if the Part Electric Furnace is going to sell a lot. I wonder if the Heat Seeker Pump Shotgun's going to sell that much. Only 3,223 hours in, and in theory, maybe around 3,500 after 24 hours of sales. That's low. That's real low. And of course, we do have the other pump shotgun. The AK-47 surprisingly selling quite a lot. Is the backpack matching up to its collection? Well, you know what? There's quite a lot to discuss. How are we looking then with the first 48 hours of sales? Yeah, about that. Sorry to say, but I'm recording this quite a fair bit later than the 48-hour mark. So it's more closer to around 60 hours now. Yeah, sorry. But the Rustore rotated super early for some reason. I'm sorry. We can still figure out like potential final sales and whatnot. It shouldn't be too much of a problem. Alright, cool. Understood. But I could quickly just show you, like this is just a good few hours ago. Electric Furnace, 24,600. I look at it over to here now, refresh, 25,700. So after a good few hours, I'm talking about 4 to 5 hours, just over like 1,000 subscribers. I guess it might be slowing down. But then again, it really wouldn't surprise me if we do see quite a decent amount of like more sales as we go through the next several days. You get the idea. Cool. So, okay. As I said, it does look as if it's going to be pretty easy to notice what these skins are likely to sell by next Thursday. Like, is that absurd? Well, we'll find out in a bit. But some of the other skins here, surprisingly, they do look as if they could be selling quite a lot. So sit back and relax. Let's now go through all the skins and try and figure out how much each of them are likely to sell by next Thursday. Starting off with the Part Electric Furnace. So I had you at around 14,000 subscribers with the first 23 hours of sales. We could say up to 15,000 with 24. You could. But what can we compare to? Because, of course, at the previous week, that Neon Electric Furnace had over 27,000. What? So what are we going to compare to? Well, I thought, you know what, maybe we could compare to the optimized AK-47 and just work from there, basically. So, all right then, we'll try our best. As I switch over to here to 2 weeks ago, you'll see this ended up at just over 31,000 subscribers. If I were to look at the current position that this electric furnace is in right now, I think that could easily do another 10,000 subscribers. I wouldn't be surprised if there's a decent amount of people jumping in at the last second as well, next Thursday. But are we going to have another early Rust rotation? If we do, okay, that's fine. But if Face Punch takes their time, next Thursday, you might see quite a lot more extra sales jumping in that. Anyway, I reckon that Electric Furnace is going to do between 35 to 40,000 subscribers. That's my current estimate. Now, is it doomed? Is that too much? Well, have you seen the product collection? This has been appreciated for a very long time. But I guess you'd talk more specifically in regards to clothing and armor if you're going to talk about like high sales. Because on average, all of that did over 40,000 subscribers. 40 to 50,000 subscribers to be precise. That worked out all right. That's cheap black clothing and armor. A cheap black alternative option that's been appreciated for the past few years. When you look at the deplorables, before we had the naval update, they weren't doing super great. Well, guess what? We've had the naval update. Well, I mean, it's doing a lot better now, isn't it? But as I look over to here, that electric furnace is selling far too much in comparison to all the other deplorables. Let me just point out 9,600 for the sheet metal door, 16,600 for the large box. Garage Door has around 12,000 subscribers. Pirate Furnace has about 15,000 subscribers. The bed only has around 9,700. And then we have 35 to 40. I said this in my predictions video. As time goes on, it wouldn't surprise me if that actually does slowly start to go up in value. It wouldn't surprise me, maybe in a year or two's time, that actually might end up in the positive. People do appreciate the pirate theme skins here. But that's a brand new skinnable. There will be more electric furnaces on the horizon. Next week, the week after, don't be surprised if we potentially have 2 electric furnaces in the same store within the next 2 weeks. Should I point out there's a very, very colourful looking electric furnace right there. Should I point out the possibility of a Twitch drop, a kick drop? So again, with brand new skinnables, as we see more and more and more options appearing, suddenly the first few skins, they're not so special anymore. With other options available, they tend to go down in price pretty badly, don't they? And as you'll notice, 55,000 subscribers, potentially 40,000 subscribers. Look at the beds as an example. First few bed skins that came out, they were very interesting. They were the only options we had. But of course, we kept seeing more and more and more and more and more and more beds being accepted and introduced. 33,000 subscribers, 45,000 subscribers, down 58, down 71%. 22,000, down 44%. 35,000, down 42%. They are suffering because we got more options. I really wouldn't be surprised if we do see quite a lot of electric furnaces over the course of the next, well, honestly, the end of this year. Let's say around May 2027. Do you reckon we'll have at least 30 electric furnace skins being accepted? We're not going to have a full year with beds until October. And that went pretty silly, didn't it? But when you consider like the Twitch drops and all that, I mean, we did see quite a lot of the skins, I'm just saying. So I do worry for it. But I could still see it work out quite right further on in the future. So are we just going to stick with the bilders? Yeah, we're probably just going to stick with the bilders. So, okay. Feel free to offer your own opinion based on what we're seeing here. But it's not really that surprising, is it? No. So, alright, cool. Tribal Alloy AK-47. Surprisingly, you are selling quite a lot. And to be honest with you, I was kind of struggling to see what I could compare with. So as I hop back over to here, let's say this potentially went up to about 9,500 subscribers. As I looked around, initially I thought maybe the crypt door could be a nice thing, but that did slow down pretty badly towards, the end of its 7-day tenure in the restore. So I just kept looking around, I kept making considerations, and I thought, you know what, maybe Apotheosis of War Garage Door probably is the best option. Maybe it doesn't sell as much, or maybe it still does. So, alright, then we'll work with this. So looking to about 2 weeks ago, I can confirm to you the Apotheosis of War Garage Door, just over 27,000 subscribers, and it's perfectly in the positive, alright? Are we going to actually match up all the way to there? Honestly, with the way this is moving, I am tempted to say I wouldn't be surprised that maybe we are going to slow down. Also, consider this, Hedge. You're sitting here 60 hours in, not 48. I guess I'll still say 25 to 30,000 subscribers. It's a nice looking AK. I don't think it's a super flashy, super insane sort of design, but I could definitely see like an interesting collection being built up from here. So keep an eye on the workshop this weekend. Will that happen? Tribal Alloy Collection. I'm not sure what's happening, but I'm curious. But it is a $3 skin. We've had this discussion with the predictions video many times in the past. We've seen a $3 AK-47 skin, and higher priced as well. The majority of them suffer. Not everything is like an optimized AK-47, pure white with a very interesting pay-to-win aim sight. So, are we going to end up more like this? Or are we going to end up more like the Imprisoned Demon AK-47? Sold at $3, now it's listed at about $1. Sorry to say, but it's more likely to be this. So, okay, if we do see collection continuations, though, not going to complain. But it does look as if it's got a lot of momentum behind it. And if we don't have another early Rust rotation, yeah, it wouldn't surprise me if we comfortably reach up to 25,000 subscribers. So, all right then. I do lean more towards I'm cautious about it. But by all means, if you like a skin, just buy it, use it, enjoy it. Support the skin creators, keep them nice and motivated to want to keep putting out nice creative designs in the future. I do believe we'll be seeing another tribal alloy weapon skin this weekend. Keep an eye out. Naval Camo Backpack. Now, to be honest with you, I think it's going to be pretty okay. I should remind you, this sold quite a lot. Tier 2 sold quite a fair bit less. Tier 3 sold the least. And the boots and the gloves, they sold around the same amount as the tier 3. I'm looking at this and I'm thinking it's going to sell just a little bit more in comparison to the boots and the gloves. So let's go ahead and do that comparison. So back over to here. 7,000 subscribers. But let's go ahead and maybe add around 500 extra subscribers. Well, as we hop back over to here and look at the boots and the gloves, well, it's very similar. 7,300 almost, just over 7,200. Let's go take a look at the skins here. Because I'm very much under the impression this backpack is likely to sell between 16 to 18,000 subscribers, which slots in perfectly with the whole collection. I think that backpack's to be totally fine. Also, it's actually selling for the standard price of $1.49 for a backpack that is the standard price. For some strange reason, it's categorized as a deplorable. Anyway, $1.49, standard price, still abnormal. I think that's a perfectly fine thing to approach. Do you personally believe Naval Camo Collection is going to have a fun summertime? We just saw the backpack being accepted, and I noticed that this was in a positive for a while. But if you're ever concerned in regards to Tier 2 armor, Tier 2 was accepted during the Easter dip. If you were to go ahead and look at all the total listings of each of the skins here, is it surprising to point out that the kilt has over 200 listings? Now, in comparison, let's also just point out hoodie and pants here, they sold the most. But the hoodie, for example, there is only 39 listings right now. Only 39. So, okay, yeah. What happened was there's a lot of people were just unloading their stock because when prices are going down, people just assume the worst. They never remove their listings. So there's a lot here, but it's very thin. If you truly believe that this has a pretty interesting future ahead of it, I still think the backpack's going to be A-okay. And we are expecting a jacket and some tactical gloves at some point in the future as well. Always read the comments. You might find out early that there might be some interesting collection continuations on the horizon. Ooh. So, yeah. All right, that's looking promising. That's looking interesting. I look forward to it. So, yes, if we were to see either a jacket or a pair of tactical gloves, I think the backpack would be appreciating it, along with all the other skins here. So, all right, cool. I've got confidence with the Naval Camo set. I reckon that backpack will do 16 to 18,000 subscribers. I think that's perfectly fine for it. Let's now talk about the bow, the tier 3 armor, and the tactical gloves altogether. So as you might notice, that is selling quite a lot in comparison to what we see over to here. There's quite some distance, but we could generalize. So over to here, as I look at the initial sales, this had just over 6,300 subscribers. This had just around 5,800 subscribers. You could probably add 500 subscribers extra, considering 23 instead of 24. But still, I thought maybe the best thing to compare to was the Popstar Pump Shotgun. I didn't have a lot of options, but that felt like it was probably the most reasonable. So, hopping out of here and looking at the current state of these, and then getting a good look over to here, that did 15,600 subscribers almost. What am I expecting with the bow, the tier 3, and the tempered tactical gloves? I reckon with the redemption bow, that could potentially go all the way up to like 16,000 subscribers. But I think the tempered tactical gloves will probably maybe just about reach 14,000 subscribers. So for all of these, 14 to 16,000 subscribers. Now, is that a lot? In the grand scheme of things, no, not really. With the redemption bow, let me just point out, redemption weapon skins. People are appreciating redemption weapon skins. Now, you also might be fully well aware, transparent aim sight. I don't remember if that had transparency. It's a double barrel shotgun. Well, that's still doing good. And the L96 is also doing good. I know these don't have transparency, but the point I'm trying to get across is get a good look at the green. What do you mean it's red? No, look at the numbers. The numbers are green. Anyway. So aside from the joke, you get the idea. This is in demand. This is appreciated. But the bow also happens to have transparency, as much as you can have in a hunting bow. Thing is, though, we have seen that recently regardless as well. Like, I have Sahara, much cheaper, that has the same transparency. Hellcore bow, slightly cheaper, part of a well-established collection. That also has the same amount of transparency. Why is it? Black Ops bow here, with over 36,000 subscribers, and, well, I guess with an interesting collection of sorts, but not fully complete. Why is this one so expensive? How did this one work out stupendously and amazingly and whatnot? What prompted loads of people to jump in on this specifically? Because again, it sold a lot. Why is this doing so good? This also happens to have that transparency. I still to this day I don't fully understand. Now it does look as if it's starting to go down now. Again, other cheaper affordable options with transparency are starting to appear. But you know what? That's probably a good thing to bring up. It's not so special anymore. So let's go ahead and just quickly showcase this to you. So when you aim down, do you see the transparency here? Maybe we could get a better picture than that. There you go. Yeah. Let's say if you're walking towards a cliff, or maybe might be near a building with two levels and whatnot, someone might actually peek in that little bit of vision you get there. That's it. That little bit of vision, that makes it a little bit more paid to win. Yeah, it's silly. Anyway, aside from all that, I think the fact that that's a redemption weapon skin probably would just carry it enough. When I did my predictions video, this was one of the skins I brought up in my conclusion. I thought this would be one of the better off skins. What's your opinion, though? I think that might be doing good. So, yeah, you might end up with maybe just over 16,000 subscribers, perhaps. That could happen. Still, even then, I think that's perfectly fine. You know what? 27,000 subscribers, 10,000, 10,500, 12,600, 16,600. Yeah, it's fine. It's fairly normal. So, yeah, I think that could have a pretty interesting future. Maybe we should also look at the recent bow skins, see how many they sold, or rather, their subscriber counts. And what do we see? 9,500, 9,900, 12,200. Yeah, okay then. Looks like you'll be the highest selling skin so far this year. All right, then we'll see. But still, even then, I think it'll be right. Psycho Tier 3. This is referred to as Psycho Room. This is just Psycho. Not sure what's going on there. Anyway, well, maybe we had a Psycho face mask in the past and they had to keep that name there. Maybe. Anyway, this is a brand new Tier 3 set. The potential for a brand new collection to be built up from it as well. That's all it's got really going for it. 14 to 16,000 subscribers. I mean, well, if we see Tier 2, if we see boots and gloves, if we see hoodie and pants, if they match up to the sales that these have done, that should be alright. Based on what I'm looking at, it's fine. I've got nothing against it. It looks okay to me. It's not like a current collection, though. I'm sure a lot of people have appreciated, but hey, it's something new, it's something interesting. It's unique. It's got a style to it, but I think people probably might have preferred Hellcore Tier 3, I'm just saying. But brand new skin creator as well. So keep an eye on their workshop over the course of this weekend. I believe we're anticipating a brand new collection. But I should also remind you, hang on a minute, didn't we see like brand new collections just before Easter? And you might recall correctly, because we had Acid Arachnid, Hoodie and Pants, and Wasteland Recruit Tier 3. They did have attempted collection continuations. No, they did not continue. Sorry, but that's what happened. So, oh, okay, then fair enough then. So we'll see what happens here. But do keep in mind, don't just assume it's definitely going to get a collection continuation. All right? So I'll be keeping an eye out for it. Is it going to happen, though? So, okay, we'll leave it be. And then we have the tempered tactical gloves. Now, if I could just look at tactical gloves in general at the moment, quite a lot of that is in the positive. There's still a lot of people panicking about Reptile Hunter tactical gloves. Give it time. Anyway, we have seen quite a decent amount of these skins being accepted. But based on what I'm looking at here, 14,000 subscribers. I guess the best thing you could probably look at and compare to would be like Deep Ruby Tactical Gloves, all bright and purple and shiny. That doesn't have a full collection behind it. Tempered does, but is it in demand? Before I looked at like the Tempered Tactical Gloves being accepted, I saw this wasn't doing stupendous. I saw the tier 2 wasn't doing stupendous, but it's now. In fact, quite a lot of skins are doing a lot better at the moment. I'll talk about that towards the end of this video. Yes, the pre-summer peaks are happening, it seems. Anyway, well, the roadside gloves didn't really work out very nicely, but the tactical gloves do look as if they're going to sell quite a fair bit less. To be honest with you, I think they could actually hold up quite all right. If we keep seeing this momentum, if we keep seeing the value, the interest in the skins holding up, all right, you might actually have a very nice summer. There's one problem though. What comes out after this that gives that a boost? We've already got a jacket. We've got all the clothing and armor pieces, and of course that came out in 2016. We've got everything. So, like, is there anything to give that a boost? No, not really. No. Maybe some more, primitive skins, I guess. But yeah, that is a bit questionable. So maybe we'll talk more about that when we do the abnormal barters next week on Wednesday night. But I am questioning, is that going to be all right? Is it going to be okay? I'm not sure. It's interesting, though. So, okay, cool. 14,000 subscribers really isn't that much. We'll see if it actually manages to even reach that. Maybe it falls just short. That could be interesting. So, okay, cool. Understood. And now we have both the pump shotguns at the same time. Still, even now, very similar sales. That's priced at $2. Not as flashy, not as in demand, but this right here, almost twice the price. And, let me just quickly point this out. Look, the skin creator is right here. Price tag is too much for a pumpy on. This is the most expensive Heatseeker skin that's been listed. $3.49. All the previous weapons, $3. Well, you know what? I am not going to be upset with a lack of sales. He would, not me. I'm the investor. What on earth can we compare to? Well, there's actually a few things because I'm not really sure what's going to happen when we do the abnormal barters. Let me explain. We could literally just look at the sheet metal barricade, for example, because again, you could probably add like an extra 500 subscribers here. So you could look at that. You could even look at like Nuke Vibe MP5 if you really wanted to. But if I could go a little bit further back, maybe like fish boots. You might be sitting here and saying, why are you comparing to things with a little bit more sales? Well, see, the thing is, I know for a fact a lot of people are going to wait till the last second and then buy a bunch of them. So I can't help but assume, whilst they are very similar sales at the moment, by the time we see the roster rotation happen, there'll probably be a much bigger difference. Because again, the collection that this is a part of, it is in demand. And funnily enough, this does have a transparent aim sight. It's not a super useful transparent aim sight, but it does have transparency. So anyway, if I were to compare to all those other skins, I could probably go mention the training crossbow as well. Where's that? Training crossbow. There it is. Yep, 3,900. Let's go take a look at all of them. So let's go to the previous weeks. So what do we see here? 8,600. 7,500. Let's go further back. Training crossbow, 10,400. Fish boots, 11,600. Okay. All right then. Now, to be honest with you, if this wasn't a Heatseeker pump shotgun, personally I'd sit here and say I'd probably end up at around 8,000 subscribers. But I think that's going to push ahead and do a little bit better. Now, you, Oil King Pump Shotgun, for what you are, you're a perfectly fine looking pump shotgun. But you appeared in the same roster as the Heatseeker pump shotgun. And I'm sorry to say, but at the moment, it doesn't appear to be that much of a difference. But I assure you now, there will be. There will be. But yes, this is a collection as well, Oil King. AK isn't very in demand. In contrast, his Heatseeker collection. The timing was very good there. Yeah, big difference. So this definitely looks to be on course to be the lowest selling skin amongst all of these. And do you honestly believe this is stopping now? No, I think there will be more Heatseeker skins this summer. We very likely could be having Heatseeker Summer 2026. Yes. But you might notice some of the prices of these skins are actually rising up very, very nicely at the moment right now. They could potentially go up even higher this upcoming July and August time. That could happen. You're $14? Wow, I didn't even notice that. So, yes, I honestly believe that's going to probably go over 10,000 subscribers still. So, for both the pump shotguns, sorry for meandering, I think we're going to look at potentially 9 to 11,000 subscribers. That is the answer. I kind of would be surprised if the Oil King probably still ends up with maybe around 8,000 subscribers. So you know what? I'll say 8 to 11,000 subscribers, because I know a lot of people are going to jump onto that after we've done the Barders Wednesday night. So, okay, that's just my assumption, but it wouldn't surprise me. So, alright, cool, understood. Now we have the final weapon skin, or rather, the tool skin. That is the Primal Salvage Axe. So this one was a little bit awkward to compare to because, well, it really hadn't sold that much. 1,800. Now, you could probably chuck on an extra 500 subscribers, true, but honestly, the best thing I could compare to was probably the Nuke Vibe Jackhammer, and even then, this had considerably more subscribers. So, just looking back and taking a look and seeing this, where are we? Oh, no, the week before, okay. In regards to this, that only ended up with about 7,700 subscribers. I'm not sure if this Salvage Axe is going to even match up to that. So, to give you a sort of rough estimate, I think I'm going to sit here and say this is going to probably do between 5,000 to 7,000 subscribers. Now, I should warn you, with such low sales, that could be manipulated in the future. We'll see what happens. But, you know, if that were to get like a Primal Ice Pick collection continuation being made and accepted, don't you think that might spike a price ever so nice? Salvage Axes, how are they currently holding up? Could be better. Could be better. I'm still not sure how they're likely going to behave in the future. But this right here, a Shellac sales definitely would be a nice sort of boost for it, I guess. Because with the possibility of a collection continuation, yep, that's in a good spot. But also manipulators, they're probably sniffing around for new things to probably buy out. That might happen to this. Unfortunately, this is not abnormal. Of course, the Oil King pump shotgun is also not abnormal. We can't chase after these on Wednesday night, but we can look at the sales and we can make some considerations. I'm just not fully convinced still. So, all right, 5,000 to 7,000 subscribers. Maybe that's ridiculously low. All right, then, cool. So, right, don't forget, all the estimates in regards to total sales are in the chapters. So if you scroll down, take a look in the description right now, look at the chapters, you'll see they're next to all the titles and whatnot. So, all right, cool. So feel free to comment below your own opinions with the skins this week. And don't forget, keep an eye on the workshop. Some interesting things have started to appear already. I've already talked about the Popstar Electric Furnace. All Seeing Eyes made a return. A golden t-shirt. And another attempt at Fish Tier 3. I'm just saying. We're seeing some pretty interesting skins. Who knows what actually will get accepted. But that does look cool. So, yeah, Fish Tier 3. I reckon a certain Boots and Gloves would appreciate that actually being accepted. Well, of course, in a Tier 2 set. So, alright, cool. Some very interesting things on the horizon. Player count, it's fine. Maybe it could be better, but it's fine. I don't think anyone's going to complain. I saw it went up to about 160,000 just a few hours ago. That's cool. You know what? I think May will be above 100,000. I was having some doubts. You never know. Maybe next week and a week after might be a little bit more duller. We'll see. But yeah, it's looking like it's holding up quite nicely for now. So yeah, double thumbs up at the moment. Commits. Lots of Hack Week things are being mentioned. Lots of Hack Week ideas are being worked on. Now, if you don't fully know what Hack Week is, basically, all the devs at FacePunch, they have free will to work on whatever project they want that they think could potentially be a nice idea to be added to Rust. Lots of interesting updates we've had over the past year or two originally were a Hack Week idea. So, alright, give this a good look. Get an early look at what potentially could be things we see actually being implemented later on in the game. So, of course, maybe it needs to be reviewed. Maybe everybody has to be satisfied with it. But look at this. Hanging ivy. Added hanging ivy, models, material. Is that something we can have in our base instead of a ladder? Oh, that might be cool. So I'm just saying that might be a pretty cool idea. So yeah, get a good look around. Maybe there might be some videos attached. Get a good look at what maybe or could potentially be added later on, maybe this year or next year. So what's that? Added draw shape text identifiers when you try and make the horse follow you. Okay, understandable, I guess. So yes, it's just a lot of things like this. LED button skins. Button skins? What's that look like? Well, we've got a video, so we could get a good look at this now. So what, can I customize it? What does that look like? Oh, okay then. So when I stand in it, it lights up. Nice. So we're going to have Dance Dance Revolution, right? Maybe. All right, cool. So give this a good look. I think we only get like Hack Week every 3 months, I think. I guess that's the case, or maybe it's after a very big project. I don't fully know, but it's usually around every 3 months. So keep an eye out. New interesting things, maybe in the future. Is there anything else to address? Yes. To my surprise, we have noticed quite a lot of skins rising up in price very nicely. It's not the summer peak yet. We have the surprise summer rise. So I would recommend you consider giving this a good watch. Again, there's chapters there. Maybe look at the chapters first just to see if there's anything that catches your eye that might interest you. Because, yeah, lots of skins are going up in price quite highly. Like, in a lot of instances, I've seen some skins go above their post-Christmas price already. However, we still have to be a little bit wary of June. Last year, June 2025, for some strange reason, we had a dip. I don't know why we had a dip, but we had one. I'm looking at some of these skins now and I'm kind of questioning, are they going to still keep going up? Or are they starting to cool down? Could we have another similar situation like last year? June time. And of course, I also talk about the manipulation taking place with a demonic pistol. Is that worth $600? No. Find out. Right, so, yep, that's pretty much everything that needs to be addressed. I think I've got everything covered. So, yeah, that's pretty much everything. Let's see how it all pans out. Let's see what the final sales are by next Wednesday. Let's get those abnormal barders done, and then we contemplate what interesting skins could be accepted in the next Rust store. Well, of course, to get an early insight, keep an eye on the Rust Workshop. So once again, thank you very much for watching me. I greatly appreciate it. Best of luck to each and every single one of you. Have a lovely weekend. Catch you later. Say goodbye.